Hey there! Welcome back to Wellness by Nature, the podcast where we're all about making health simple and achievable, one small step at a time. I'm Barbara Sage, and I'm so glad you're joining me today. You know, I recently read that over 60% of our daily calories can come from processed foods without us even realizing it. Isn't that wild? I remember going through my pantry one day and realizing how many of my staples were actually highly processed. It was a wake-up call for me and got me thinking about how these foods really affect us. So, today we're diving into the real impact of processed foods on our health and how to start making changes that actually feel doable. So here's the game plan for today. We'll talk about what processed foods actually are, why they can be harmful, and some easy swaps that can make a big difference without overhauling your entire diet. Sound good? Let's kick things off by getting clear on what processed foods are and why they matter. Now, I totally get it. Life is busy and processed foods can feel like lifesavers when we're juggling everything. But the reality is a lot of these foods are loaded with hidden sugars, unhealthy fats, and additives. When I first started paying attention, I was surprised by how often I reached for packaged snacks or pre-made meals without thinking. It was just convenient, you know? So here's the lowdown. Processed foods are any foods that have been changed from their original form to increase shelf life, taste, or convenience. It could be something as simple as canned soup or as obvious as a sugary snack. The kicker, these foods usually contain added sugars, salt, or unhealthy fats that can mess with our energy levels and even increase our risk for certain diseases. One thing that helped me make the switch was just starting small. I'd replace one snack a day with a whole food, like grabbing an apple instead of a granola bar. It wasn't about perfection. It was just about making small choices that made me feel better. So here's a tip. Next time you're at the store, try choosing one item with fewer ingredients. You might be surprised at how easy it is once you get started. Picture this. You're grocery shopping and see those colourful snack packs calling your name. I used to load up on those, but one day I thought, what if I just swapped one of these for a handful of nuts or a piece of fruit? Little by little, I noticed I felt less bloated and my energy was way more stable throughout the day. Sometimes it's the small swaps that really add up. Alright, so we've talked about what processed foods are and why they can be an issue. Now let's look at some super simple ways to reduce them in our diets without feeling like we're missing out. So today we learned that processed foods are often packed with additives that can really weigh us down. But by making small swaps, like choosing whole foods when we can start feeling better day by day. Here's a little challenge for you. Next time you're cooking or snacking, try swapping just one processed item for something fresh and simple. And if this episode got you thinking about your food choices, share it with a friend. It's always easier to make changes when we're in it together. Thanks for tuning in to Wellness by Nature with me, Barbara Sage. Remember, small steps can lead to big changes. Here's to a healthier, happier you, one step at a time.